There are a lot of rumors going around about potential series on the Disney Plus streaming service. But are most of them a bunch of mumbo jumbo? Well, I think one of them might not be. And we'll get into that in a little bit. Welcome back, everybody. This is Star Wars News Net's The Resistance broadcast. I'm John Hoey. Thanks so much for joining us today. If it's your first time joining us, welcome to The Resistance. Basically, what we do here is talk about Star Wars twice a week, and that's pretty much it. It's a good time. Thank you so much for joining us. So we do have this is our Monday news show. So this is our crazy show because news is heating up in the Star Wars galaxy. We have a ton of stories that James is going to get us into in a little bit. So right now, let's just bring them in. As always, it's James and Lacey. Guys, happy Monday. I can't believe how much stuff we have to talk about. So much so that there's not going to be any rundown today. We have a lot to talk about. How you feeling? What's going on?
I'm feeling pretty good. I think I've said this on the last few episodes, but we are getting closer and closer to Celebration, and I'm just very excited about it. I keep thinking it's going to be this big stressful thing, and then at the same time, I'm like, no, we're fairly prepared for this. It's going to be fun, and things are going to go by. All the work's going to go by really quick, and all the enjoyment is going to last a lifetime. So there you go. There you go.
Absolutely. We're under 50 days now, guys. This is nuts. What's up?
Mm-hmm.
How's it going? I'm wearing a Celebration shirt right now. I'm wearing a Rey shirt.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
It almost looks like she's wearing a tiny party hat.
Does it? Oh, it kind of does. It's the rebellion symbol.
So what's today? The 25th? So we're at 45 days away.
Yeah.
From Celebration.
Almost a month.
That is insane. We are less than 7 weeks away, which means, and I guess we can get into this later, we're less than 7 weeks away from a trailer for Star Wars Episode 9, guys.
What?
Heck yes.
Wild stuff. But I guess before we get into the news, we have to run through the poll results. So let's do that right now. We asked you guys, are you happy to hear that the Obi-Wan Kenobi content being made is going to be a series for Disney Plus instead of a theatrical movie? And we gave you guys 3 options: yes, no, or indifferent. You can go either way. So resounding 62% of you out there said yes, you are down with it being a series for the Disney Plus streaming service. 21% of you said indifferent. You're just glad it's happening, whether it's a movie or a series. And only 17% of you said no, which means you'd rather have a movie or nothing at all, I guess. Mm-hmm. I was not surprised about this. I think people are really vibing what they're hearing about the streaming service. With the Mandalorian, everything sounds like it's a good report out of that. Everyone seems excited about the Cassian Andor thing. So why wouldn't they be excited about a character that more people love than Cassian Andor? An Obi-Wan Kenobi series. More Kenobi is a good thing, I guess. Guys, were you surprised about how these results turned out?
I'm not surprised at how the results turned out. I voted no, though. This is going to be
we all know you are anti-Kenobi.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not anti-Kenobi, but I think it's going to be a constant theme as we talk a lot about Kenobi this week because he's the big focus. You'll find that I generally don't like connect with him, and I think he's very overrated. My thing with this is I don't think there's anything in that time frame to talk about, so it makes more sense to do a 2-hour thing than to try to like stretch it out. Like, cool, we could explore it more and more and more. There's nothing there.
That's surprising that you say that. Because you're the guy who's always all about filling gaps with new stories. So why couldn't they
not when the story is that nothing happened?
Well, that's not true. You know that. You watch Rebels. You know that's not true. Okay, Lacey, what do you think?
I'm super pumped. Obi-Wan Kenobi, GOAT.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I am all for Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm all for Ewan McGregor coming back. I will take as much as they will give me of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
You know what's funny about that? When we posted the article about it.
That's why I brought this up, so John can say this.
The header image was Ewan McGregor holding a lightsaber. The 3 images in the article were Ewan McGregor. And in the article, it says that part of the report is that Ewan McGregor has been on board since day 1. And some people still were like, I'd be really into this as long as Ewan McGregor is doing it. Like, what do you what else do you need? What else needs to be said? Well, and I joke with some people on Twitter, And they're like, is he doing it? I want Ewan McGregor. If it's Ewan McGregor. And I would comment on every so often on a few of them. And I would say, well, right now it's down to him, Willem Dafoe, Brendan Fraser, and Steve Buscemi. And people be like, if it's Steve Buscemi, I'm not. And then
someone was like, well, Brendan Fraser's in a series. And you were like, I am joking. You literally had to write that out.
Imagine Steve Buscemi takes over as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
You know what? This is kind of going to be a little bit of a hot take, but I think that if somebody is saying that, they're like, I'd be interested in this, but only if Ewan McGregor comes back. I think that they're not fully grasping the possibility that Disney could not hire somebody else to be that character. And in a reality where they could hire somebody else to be that person, I think that this person in the core would be okay with it. The person that's saying that, like, I would like it if Ewan McGregor come back. I think they would also be okay with it if they found out that it was somebody else. They're like, oh, okay, I think there'll be a cool Kenobi.
Bob Iger's like,
whereas most people would be like, what? No,
next earnings call on April 11th or whenever that investors call is going to be before Celebration. Bob Iger's going to be like, all right, here's the deal. McGregor dropped out. He wanted too much money. We got Pauly Shore.
Oh God.
Pauly Shore is going to be Kenobi.
What is he even doing?
The Weasel is Kenobi. No.
We need to do a who could possibly be Obi-Wan Kenobi? Who would you buy if it wasn't Ewan McGregor? Yeah, because we could name terrible choices all day.
Right. Yeah.
But it would be fun to try to pick out someone who we actually think
it's funny,
could
like
work.
I actually think we'll get into this more later, I guess. But I think like 90% of the reason why they're making it is because of Ewan McGregor. But
I love Ewan McGregor.
We did have a best comment, and it was Kyle at TumblingSaber. That's a podcast, TumblingSaber.
Mm-hmm. Hey, Kyle.
Thank you, Kyle, for commenting. And Kyle said, I'm happy about this. I don't think this show will or should be a high-octane adventure full of misplaced badassery. So may as well lean into character study and a long-form story. So thank you, Kyle, for that.
Love that.
A lot of people seem to agree. So if you look at the totals there, only 17% against this thing, which means 83% are down for Kenobi in one way or another. So that's a good sign. And we'll get into more of that in a little bit. And I'm going to hand the baton now to the guy who fires off the stories for us. His name, James Arthur Bainey. James, Resistance Report. What's up, man?
It's the Resistance.
All right. They always get on me for talking too long, but let's try to fly through all 5 of these stories, guys.
5 stories. Well, James, wasn't it
5
like
headlines
a month ago we were like, should we talk about that Lego set that's coming out? Like,
let's just stick to these 2. We don't need 3.
It was brutal. Oh, man.
What about this new thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
We could bring back Lando again if you want.
Oh, yeah. We talked about Lando coming back
a lot, yeah. So, I'm the person that's announcing this story, but John's really the source here to this first story, which is the fact that, we were just kind of talking about the idea of a Kenobi series coming out on Disney+. This looks to be clearly in the works. This looks to be like the third most likely possibility after the 2 that have already been announced. So it's probably going to happen. And this came as our own sort of scoop on this story. John, you're the guy who wrote the article. You're the guy that broke the news. You're the guy that's getting the credit. So I'm going to jump to you first. Where is this coming from? What's the story with this Kenobi stuff?
Yeah, so I talked to a few people about this, and from where I heard it first, and then bounced it off others who felt to be in agreement with that.
And who was that?
Bob Iger.
Yeah,
Bob Iger.
And then I asked Kathleen Kennedy. She's like, I've never heard of it. I have no idea.
Yeah.
No, but I was told that Kenobi was originally supposed to be a movie, and that's why they had Ewan McGregor at the solo premiere. They were trying to churn up the buzz there. They had him sitting next to Ray Park in the theater.
Yeah, they did.
So you had to think maybe they were going to involve him in some way. And then Solo's opening didn't do as well as they thought, and its run didn't do as well as they thought, so they pulled it back. and they reworked it. And then you go back to that phrase of Bob Iger last year saying we're rethinking the way we're approaching these things, and it puts more clarity on that statement because they weren't getting rid of it. As some of the reports had said, they were just retooling it, and now they're thinking of doing this in other ways. And so I heard that it's now the newest top priority, aside from the two that are currently literally in production, which are The Mandalorian and Cassian Andor. So it's the next in line in priority is what I was told. And from what I heard, it's going to be 6 episodes, and it's going to be a limited series. And someone else had told me that it may, if it's successful, they may bring a movie into it after, but my main source is just telling me a limited series, 6 episodes, Obi-Wan Kenobi for the streaming service. And based on where the info came from, it is pretty lock solid. So I'm really excited about it. And of course, as we joked about, it's Ewan McGregor coming back, and he was always on board from day one. So all those outlets who were peppering him with questions and pummeling him with questions, he had to say, of course I'd come back. Of course I'd come back. That was never a surprise. And I think they're basing all this around the fact that he's a very popular character. Everyone loved Ewan McGregor, even if they didn't like the prequels, the job he did as Kenobi. So I think most of this has to do with him. And I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it'd be very successful for the streaming service. If they're willing to make a Cassian Andor series and a wildcard series like The Mandalorian on a character we don't know about, it is such a no-brainer to make a series and greenlight it for Obi-Wan Kenobi. So I think this is definitely happening. I know a lot of people are cautious because Lucasfilm has not announced this. They may not announce it at Celebration either, but I think it's going down.
So Lacey, in your opinion, this week, or last week, I should say, we've gotten, inundated with rumor after rumor of new shows, right? Yep. A Kira show, a Finn and Poe show, a Knights of Ren show, a Phasma show, a Young Leia show. Like, here's my thing to all the people who are trying to reconcile all of this news. Why is the Obi-Wan Kenobi story different, in your opinion?
Well, first of all, from the source that it's coming from, which is John and his source, I trust John. Everything he says is true. He would never make anything up. Second of all, I made a comment on Twitter about the show stuff where it was like, this show's happening, this show's happening, this show's happening. And I heard from people around Twitter saying that the people that did hear that source of, oh, this TV show's happening, it was on a memo that was being passed around. Now, going back to what John said last week, that Disney might and or if could be shooting out leaks and spoilers to catch people, that is something that I think would be a prime example of, okay, let's catch some people, let's put out a memo and see if it leaks.
Right.
Like, look, I love Kira. I think she's a fabulous character. I want a Solo 2 to happen. Make Solo 2 happen. Is she going to get her own series? No, probably not. Let's be honest. Rose Tico, you think they're really going to make a Rose Tico movie? Like, come on, guys. She's not even going to be really in episode 9 from what we hear. I can't see her having her own show because that's a lot of trust into a character that has a lot of negativity around. And not only that, really didn't have any character development in The Last Jedi to begin with. So what are you going to make the show about? Right. The reason I trust the Kenobi series is because Ewan McGregor being at the Solo premiere is a big red flag for me. I mean, he skipped the red carpet. It was like super secretive. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, this is happening. And then as soon as Solo didn't do as well, that was when it was like, no, it's not happening. It's not happening. He is a beloved character in Star Wars. He's one of the top 10 best characters in Star Wars. It is an anniversary year for The Phantom Menace, 20th anniversary. This would be the prime time to announce Ewan McGregor is coming back as Kenobi. So that's why I believe in it. Plus, on a personal level, I just really want this series because I love Obi-Wan Kenobi and I love Ewan McGregor. So I'm in. 10 out of 10 would watch.
10 out of 10 would watch. John, let me ask you, in your opinion, where would we be at if they pulled, and not saying anything about this because we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but the Rian Johnson trilogy before The Last Jedi came out, what if they announced this Ewan McGregor movie before Solo came out? Would they be changing it? Would they be moving it to a series? Sorry, never mind, we're backing off.
That's an interesting question.
They would try to stick to it?
I think they would change it, and they would spin it in a very smart way to say, well, we found the story we have have way too many pages of a script. We don't want to cut this thing up.
It's too good to keep it to 2 hours.
Instead of having 2 hours of material, it turns out we have 6 hours worth of story. So we want to bring that to our streaming service and be able to give our audience the full story. They'll do it. They would spin it that way. They would say, we don't want to shortchange you on this story for Kenobi. So even if they did announce it, they wouldn't just say, oh, crap, we have to go forward with this movie now. They would figure out a way to PR it, spin it in a good light, and proceed with the streaming service.
And if you think about it, Obi-Wan is a more mainstream character than clearly the Mandalorian, who nobody knows anything about, or even Cassian Andor. Not everyone saw Rogue One. Like,
right, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, tons of people that's like, guys, my husband Matt is one of them. They go to those Star Wars movies for fun, but they aren't really into it. He saw Rogue One because I made him see Rogue One. He wouldn't have seen Rogue One on his own. But yet he knows who Darth Vader is. He knows who Obi-Wan is. I could see this being a series that is kind of like that anchor to pull people into the Disney Plus service, because regular fans aren't going to be like, okay, Cassian, or why would I pay the extra $10 a month to watch a character that I don't really know about? But if you're like Obi-Wan and Darth Vader could show up, they're going to be like, hell yeah, where do I sign up?
And you know what's interesting to me, and I want to ask you guys this question. If we have The Mandalorian coming out this year and Cassian Andor is going to be filming this year and coming out next year, do you think that means if the Kenobi series is going into production that it's not going to be shown until 2021? Do you think they're doing one series per year?
No.
Or do you think they'll do a little double barrel action?
I think they'll shoot them at the same time.
Yeah, I think that while it never happened, it was always kind of a rumor that Disney would be ramping up to try to do 2 movies a year for Star Wars. I think that there's a very real possibility that they could still have 2 series a year in mind, especially since they're only 6 episodes. They're kind of like a mini-series thing. Some of these shows may get picked up for second seasons, and some of them might be like one and done. Now let's move on to the next. And they feel like they can explore Star Wars on that platform while still keeping the movies special and the big box office movies. But I think that in that you get the exchange. We get less films in exchange for more TV. I think
and you have to think about
the future of
Netflix
Star
too.
Wars.
Right.
Yeah,
and
that's a
Netflix
good point.
shoots multiple shows all at once, and they have a very strict schedule of like, there's a new show coming out, if not 2 or 3 things coming out every month at this point on Netflix.
Right.
Yeah,
And,
like
there's
all their mainstream shows like Stranger Things and House of Cards and Orange is the New Black, all that stuff, and tons of others now. Obviously, there's tons of series.
Right.
And there's one thing I want to stress about this story, because I know people are doubting because they've heard Obi-Wan Kenobi stories forever now, and they're hearing all these other stories like Lacey just mentioned about the Rose Ticos and all this other stuff that came from other sources. But all I can tell you guys right now, I'm looking right at you guys, is based on where I heard this from and this information, I truly believe that it is happening. And I wouldn't have reported it if I didn't think so. Now, I know things can shift and change and stuff like that. I get that. That happens a lot. Especially with our next story, things can change a lot. I know that. But where I sit right now, I think this is definitely going down. I'm not saying you should expect an announcement necessarily at Celebration. So it's possible Lacey and I still get cracked in the face with pies because the bet was about Celebration. But I think we're going to hear about it at some point, and it would be smart for them to announce it at Celebration, but it doesn't necessarily have to happen that way. But I do think this is definitely happening, and I'm not trying to discredit all the other rumored show stories, ideas that have been floated around. Maybe that's possible too. I just have to go by this one story that we reported. That's all I can say.
I am. They're dumb.
Well, let's talk about that next story.
Okay.
So episode 9, right, has officially wrapped that principal photography. There's still room for reshoots.
Hug.
There's obviously lots of post-production stuff that's going to continue to go on. But the
Rey
story,
has new hair.
as far as the main stuff is done. It's all wrapped, and we have a little thing here that says the first trailer is set to debut in April, and it will be attached to Avengers Endgame. And this isn't just speculation. Correct me if I'm wrong, John, but there's a little bit of we now kind of have this information. So go into that. Why is this a good move? I mean, that seems pretty obvious, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is funny, because And Val came up with this idea. So I have to give Val, the owner of Star Wars Newsnet, came up with this line. As we were putting the article together, I was writing it up, and he's like, you should add this line at the end. Say something about how, we know water is wet. Because you know those comments are going to come. So we're like, oh yeah, let's throw that in the end there. And then sure enough, some people are like, breaking news, water's wet. It's like, okay. But so we heard that, there's been a lot of talk about teasers since before Christmas. People on high trades and respectable reporters have got information saying there's going to be something by the end of the year, footage by the end of the year. We had even heard footage before the end of the year. It didn't happen. Super Bowl. Oh, there's going to be Super Bowl. I have CBS credentials. Oh, that was fake. So even though we're reporting that the first trailer is going to debut at Celebration, I don't think it's necessarily a foregone conclusion to everybody. So to get some sort of confirmation on this, and again, I'm putting my name on this report too, is a good thing, I think. So while it does follow the pattern of The Last Jedi, which debuted its first trailer at the Friday of Celebration, and then was attached to stuff later, it didn't necessarily have to be that way. So as it stands right now, we're looking at a potential, Friday or Saturday, whatever it is, of Celebration when the 9 panel goes down. And then, it's going to be attached to Avengers, not earlier like Captain Marvel or whatever. And I still do think that the title will come before. I think some people are thinking they're just going to drop the one big bomb. But as the three of us have kind of discussed on this, they want to get that merch and the name Fate of the Galaxy, whatever it's going to be, a new spark of hope on the t-shirts in the shelves. But from what I've been told and what I believe here, I'm thinking Celebration trailer attached to Avengers.
Lacey, you got anything to add to this? Anything new or interesting on why maybe that's a bad idea, or maybe there's another angle to this?
No, I'm sorry. I'm not going to have a negative angle to this. I completely agree with John. John and I actually talked about this as someone that used to work for Celebration. They're going to push that trailer there. They did it in 2015. They did it with Rogue One in 2016. And they're going to do it with this. They did it with Last Jedi in 2017. And they're going to do it with Episode 9.
Lacey, you had the points about they want the shirts on the Thursday before the
so
sales.
Both times I worked for the show, they had title shirts. The first year, 2015, they actually put them up in the store after the trailer went up, and it was a madhouse, guys. It was so bad, and it was just like they ran out, so they ordered some more. People were waiting in the store for like 5 hours to get this shirt. That didn't happen in 2017. 2017, they put that shirt up for pre-order. They knew exactly how many they needed to sell, how many they needed to produce, and it was smooth sailing. So I guarantee they're going to do that again. I guarantee they're going to do that as soon as the title gets announced. And I'm telling you right now that the staff of Celebration on the Read Pop side probably does not know the title of Episode 9. If that your first jump is,
nor does the story group.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Now this is under the assumption that the title hasn't come out since after we recorded this episode.
Yes, yeah. So
hopefully not.
Yeah,
because my guess safe. Was this past Friday, the 22nd.
If it did, then guess what? We talked about it on Patreon.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Well, again, there's not a whole lot to add to that. We just wanted to talk about it because number one, it's kind of our story. And number two, it's kind of something that just it needs to be addressed at least a little bit, that you're going to go see Avengers. That's where you're going to see this trailer. So,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So potential spoilers on this next story, right? Ordinarily we kind of talk about some stuff as far as leaks go, as like, hey, it's kind of whatever. We don't know if this is true or not, but recently this exact person put out another leak, which was quickly proven to be true, by J.J. Abrams himself. So this person puts out a picture of Rey in their outfit, and then a few days later, a week or so, we see the first official image of Rey in this outfit, and it's exactly correct, So that gives a lot of credence to that leak and to this one as well.
I wonder if J.J. chose that on purpose.
Maybe, but there's a lot to
instead of giving away more of the movie, he would just give away what's already known. That sounds like a JJ thing. Instead of going against leaks, he'd go for it and say, I'm
so
not
the
show you anything
the
else.
photo isn't of a new set, it's of the Jordan set that we've already seen.
And her costume that we've already seen, and Poe's costume that we've already seen.
Poe and Finn's that we've already seen as well. Yeah,
he did that with
that's a good point of view.
In The Force Awakens, when people leaked photos of the Falcon, he's like, here's the Jajark board. So I'll just tell you right now, the Falcon's back.
Yeah. So I could totally see him being like, you know what? Just post that picture of the three of them. It's already out there. Yeah. We already know what they look like.
Yeah.
And
it is a sweet, very sweet picture.
It is. It's
it's a good picture.
Oscar
for sure.
Isaac looks like he's like legit crying.
Well, I bet it's his last day on set. I bet that's what that was.
You called that. I think that's a very good point. I do.
So I'm actually doing this kind of live. Do you want me to read through these, or do you just want to talk about them?
I think you should read through them quickly, and then we can each give maybe some comments on things we want to talk about briefly. I don't know.
Okay. All right. That's fine with me. Luke and Leia. Again, this is a spoiler.
Spoiler alert. Wow, wow. Skip ahead. Skip ahead. Wow.
Luke and Leia appear in multiple flashbacks, including at least one scene where Leia is trained or is discussing Jedi training with Luke. The outcome of the training is uncertain. It's also unclear if Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill filmed these scenes and will be de-aged, or if they are portrayed by younger actors and CG'd like Leia and Tarkin in Rogue One. And their source has heard nothing, about the flashbacks and stuff. The next part is that Leia's role as Resistance leader is being said to be of similar in size to her TFA role, perhaps even smaller, though her flashback scenes make her seem more present in the film. There's no confirmation on whether Leia lives or dies in the film. There are solid red First Order troopers, yet their role is unclear at this point in time. Nien Nunb appears in an identical costume from the previous films and has a larger role than he did in the previous films, Force Awakens and Last Jedi. So he's going to be showing up more, apparently. The Knights of Ren do appear. It's a good joke. The Knights of Ren do appear and each have a distinct weapon of choice, as has been previously seen in The Force Awakens and the concept art for that film. The moderator has some points that says, hey, we don't necessarily know this exactly true or a lot of evidence here. But that was the leak, if you will. There's actually a couple moderator points on a lot of these. But I'll just skip to the main leak. Kerry Russell's character is a bounty hunter with an allegiance that is unclear to my source. Kerry's character wears a purple, nearly magenta jumpsuit with a bronze gold accessory, or multiple accessories, including an elegant helmet. So think elongated. Yeah. Think of Sam Wessel
from
as
Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, the bounty hunter kind of
the
style.
Changeling. Yeah.
Yep. Changeling.
Imagine if her gold accent is a Crimson Dawn thing.
Could be. Naomi Ackie's character is supposedly Finn's sister.
What?
The next part is C-3PO has a scene where he holds military gear. It's unclear whether he actually fires any weapons, though. And I believe that's it. That's all that we got from this person, but there is a lot to unpack there, and I don't want to spend like a huge amount of time speculating on rumor type stuff. But to me personally, a lot of the stuff at the beginning makes sense. Leia's role, maybe some flashbacks with Luke and Leia. Okay, all that makes sense. The First Order troops, we talked about them before. Nien Nunb sounds like that's a character that's easily, brought in to kind of call back to old trilogy stuff
with Lando.
So that all makes perfect sense to me. Knights of Ren appearing, JJ's back. That's a story thread that didn't get explored. Of course, he's bringing back. That's nice to hear. Kerry Russell's character being a bounty hunter makes sense to me. She could be Knights of Ren, but I kind of like the idea of the character. I mean, that's similar, like a dark, ambiguous kind of evil-ish character makes sense. Naomi Ackie's being Finn's sister. Maybe not, but that's a good way to like close up a story on Finn, that he actually does get resolved, finds his family or something that he was taken from.
Mm-hmm.
And the C-3PO has a scene where he's holding military gear. Right? That doesn't sound interesting at all. The only thing I can think is like he falls into the pile or something, and they're like, and it's like, oh, how did I get this stuff? Or something, but which is kind of, Attack of the Clonesy or Return of the Jedi. Like, he falls off the ship or whatever. Yeah. So I don't know, maybe, but this guy's got a good track record as of now. So, guys, I'm going to leave it to you guys. I talk too much. What do you think?
What do you think?
The Kerry Russell thing makes me sad because I really want to see her in Knights of Ren, but I understand it and it makes sense. And I could see that being kind of like the DJ character or the Maz Kanata character that like has to drive the story forward. Like she's going after this thing. And there was another rumor that a while ago that they were all going after an artifact. I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but like if she's going after the same thing they're going after, something like that, I could see that happening. Or she's spying on them for the First Order. Could see that happening as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That makes sense. Coat rack, I hate. I hate the coat rack idea. Not for it.
Naomi Ackie's being Finn's sister. Is that making the universe smaller in your opinion?
I really wanted her to be her own character. Like, I don't know why every time someone comes into the movie, we automatically go, oh, they must be related to blank. Why can't she just be a new character? But at the same time, I get why people might think that or want that because then that brings Finn. But at the same time, he said in the movie that he gets taken from a family that he'll never know. So how is he going to remember her if he got taken so young that he's never going to know them?
Maybe she remembers him.
Yeah, maybe. She finds him or something. Yeah,
but don't people look like really different when they get older?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. We don't know. I mean, we might, but I don't think we know exactly how young he was when he was taken. Right. But I guess you got to think if he was like 6, he'd remember, something maybe.
I think in The Force Awakens, very briefly on some kind of hologram thing, you see a very young kid version of him.
Oh, yeah.
Looking at his file.
And it looks like Little Wayne Carter 3 album.
Yeah.
He's like sitting there
it's true. Very true.
Yeah, I mean, my take on this stuff and the Leia flashback thing makes a lot of sense because you can take her via The Force Awakens and put her back there and then have like, oh, this was before Luke left and she was there and they talk and blah, blah. So using that tool that Rian Johnson started via the flashback really helps JJ and Chris Terrio here. It opens up a lot of doors for them to do things with Leia that they may not be able to pull off if they just have to go forward with the story. So that makes a lot of sense to me. It could be one of those things where this is a leak or it's just this guy's making a smart assumption, that you're not really sure. Yeah. The 9-num thing, I couldn't care less. I mean, oh, there he is. Cool. Fill that, ding that
fan
bingo
service,
card. Bing.
Yeah.
There he is. Red First Order Troopers, we've heard that before.
Toys.
I think it was debunked or redacted that they are Sith troopers. That's just another thing. They're toys. Yeah, they're action figures. That's what they are. Tomato sauce, as we call the Praetorian Guards from The Last Jedi. Knights of Ren, I think we all kind of agree. It's almost like the Knights of Ren showing up in this movie is this movie's Paige Tico's gonna die. Like, everyone predicted that in The Last Jedi. 5 minutes in, boom, she's dead. It's like everyone thinks the Knights of Ren are showing up. So then when that happens, everyone's going to be like, I called it. No, I called it. No, I called it.
Or if they don't show up, everyone's going to be so mad.
That's true. So we have to assume they are coming back. Carrie Russell, Bounty Hunter, is kind of cool, I guess. I like the idea. Maybe she is hired by the First Order to find this MacGuffin. I think that's a good idea, Lacey.
You're welcome.
The one thing that bothers me, the Naomi Ackie's Finn's sister, I always feel like every time there is a new black actor or actress cast, people always go it's related to the other black person in Star Wars. When John Boyega was cast in The Force Awakens, people were like, it's Lando's son. It's Lando's son. Right? Mace Windu. And it's like, you know what? She might be Finn's sister, and I think that'd be a cool story, but it makes me uneasy to just be like, that's got to be it. That's, it's a big galaxy.
I would assume that it's not, but the leak is saying that it is. So I'm like, okay.
Oh, sure.
No, now
and I'm saying,
I believe it.
I think that would be a cool story because we don't know Finn's backstory. And I think he may have alluded to completing Finn's story or learning more about Finn. So it makes sense to me. I'm just saying to for me to just put it there, it makes me a little uneasy. Now, if it happens, it happens. Cool. I'm just saying that.
What did the caption say when he welcomed her on set? Does anybody remember?
I don't remember. But I will agree that the C-3PO thing makes me very uneasy. I don't like the Attack of the Clones scene. It's CGI 3PO. I hate that scene in that movie. I don't want goofy C-3PO doing things that he shouldn't be doing. I think they really need to give us C-3PO and R2 vintage in this movie. I don't like the idea of C-3PO like Arnold Schwarzenegger and Predator with Gatling guns mowing people down.
He just said, "Welcome to a whole new world." I was wondering if he said something like sis or something.
Aladdin confirmed.
So if this is true that they are siblings, and let's just assume that she comes and finds him and says, "I'm your sister," and then we all in the audience are like, "Oh, we already knew that, but it's supposed to be a reveal in the movie." But she says, "I'm your sister" and stuff. Do you think at the end of the movie he leaves, say, Poe and Rey and goes with them?
No.
Or do you think he just says, "It's great to run into you. I'm sticking with these people. Maybe I'll stop by later, family that I never knew."
She's going to stick with them because we've seen Finn try to run away in the first two movies. He's not leaving these people again.
Yeah, he's not going to leave again.
He learned at the end of The Last Jedi, the lesson by the very wise Rose Tico, who had to teach him things, was that what belonging meant to him. You know, he was still trying to get out of there, and she made him realize, you know, what's important, and this is what's important, what we have here.
Not only that, he has to stop running from his problems and face them.
Right,
yeah,
and so to have him
to
have him leave everybody again, I think, is a recycle of his character, and
no, but he's not running away. He's, I don't know. I like the idea of and bear with me for a second. Like, I like the idea of him seeing her and being like, you know, turning back and looking at his friends, and they're like, "Go, like that's your family. Like, we support that." And he's like, "I finally have that thing," and he goes off with them. Kind of, I don't know, but then here, okay, this is gonna play into this weird shit. But then Poe and Rey turn to each other and they go, "Guess it's just us." You know, maybe that's where
let's
it ends.
get married.
No, I hate that.
I'm just saying.
Lacey, why do you hate that?
Because they have no relationship for the first two movies. How can all of a sudden they're getting married?
Love at first sight, space.
No. I'm not saying they have to. I'm saying that it's that the end of the movie where like the two characters like finally hold hands, and that's where the credits roll, kind of thing.
Lacey, can I ask you a question?
Like, it doesn't mean.
James, I don't disagree with you. I think that's fine. I just don't want to see it. I'm not saying that's not a...
You're like, that's fine. I
don't think it's a bad idea. I have a question for Lacey. So, Empire Strikes Back, right? Mm-hmm. Princess Leia goes, "I love you." Han Solo goes, "I know." Right?
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi. Han Solo goes, excuse me, "I love you." And Leia goes, "I know." The Last Jedi. "Hi, I'm Poe. Hi, I'm Rey. I know." Love confirmed.
That is the dumbest theory I've ever heard.
It ain't as dumb as some of the other theories we've heard out there, trust me.
No thanks.
All right, guys.
I know theory. You heard it here first.
Yeah, I know theory. All right, let's move on to this next one, guys.
It's space.
Rian
it's
Johnson.
Fake, it's dumb. It's fun.
Rian Johnson this week, or recently, I should say. I do that sometimes. Came out and had to clarify that he is in fact still working on that trilogy because rumors got worse than they probably ever have that thing got canceled. You know, hey, he's been pushed away from the project. It's not happening. We're breaking the scoop, and it was just everywhere. And
then it was G-rated. That was the next part.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. My thing is just could you imagine like working on a project and then you get on the internet, you're like, "Oh gosh, people still saying I'm not doing this." I got guys, you're like, "I'm still here, like I'm still in the room. Can you guys not see me?" Like, I am still working on this.
Rian Johnson's like at his computer, just at home, and he sees that, and he's just like, "Ram, come look at this."
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what is it, Ryan? They canceled my trilogy on the internet again. Oh no, they can't do that. I'm your producer.
And Ram's eating cashews again because that's all he does in The Last Jedi. He's always eating nuts for some reason. Right. I don't know if anybody else noticed that in that documentary. He's always like, "Oh yeah, tell me, Ryan." He keeps eating nuts. I'm like, why is he always eating nuts?
Lacey, did you know the cashews aren't nuts?
They're not?
Nope. Anyway.
Okay. This to me, and I know sometimes when we go so long without hearing something, we start to question it. You know what I mean? I'm starting to get worried. You know, I haven't heard.
You were right.
I'm just saying. I have not been shaken by this at all. I have been saying the whole time there's no reason to think this isn't happening, and it's nice to see him come out and clarify that it is. When actual news comes up and says that, you know, maybe this is happening or maybe this is getting shifted around or something, or they just straight up announce like, "Hey, it's not happening anymore," I'll go, "Cool. All right, it's not happening anymore." But as of now, there's no reason to start thinking that it isn't happening. So it was nice to kind of shake off, you know, all the haters, I think.
AKA John and me.
We're going to talk about that
No,
more
all the people that are saying it's
Thursday,
getting canceled. Just
Yeah.
Okay. Is that it? We'll talk later about that.
Yeah, I just think it's he's very nice. You know, the publication who ran the story thought they had the tip there, and he just, you know, squashed it with them and kind of eased the flames because those guys were getting just pummeled. And even blue check marks, popular Star Wars Twitter blue check marks who like to beat people up or on top of those guys, just pummeling them. And
I will say
it's okay. It's okay.
That the publication that later ran an apology for saying, you know, like, "Hey, we ran this report, and here's the reason we ran it is we went back to our source and confirmed that it was happening." And I'm like, did you confirm something when it was never something that could be confirmed because it wasn't true? I don't know. I didn't find much to apologize for them when they were, you know, coming back on that. I was like, I think you guys didn't have much to go on, you know, and you still ran the story. But anyway, that's beside the point. But last thing in the news this week is episode 9 has wrapped, guys. We are all excited. We're saying, "Hey, I'm the Mandalorian. I wrapped too." Oh. Episode 9 is wrapped. "Oh, I'm wrapped too. I'm the Mandalorian."
Hey
guys, we finished too.
James, can I ask you a question? Why is the Mandalorian? Is the
Kylo
Mandalorian Kylo Ren's twin brother?
Yeah,
it sounds like South Park.
Yeah, no, but like in a sort of astonishing thing, we're like, "Oh, cool! Episode 9 is wrapped. It's been in the news all day," and then someone somewhere goes, "Hey, we wrapped too," and everybody's like, "What?" Of all days, like what are the odds of this? But no, it looks like it's official. Mandalorian wrapped their principal photography on the same day as episode 9.
Well, it's not official. That's the thing.
Well, I guess it's not official. Okay, seemingly has wrapped, but we saw the crew had the helmet that, you know, they all signed it, and it was some, I don't know, it was some sort of like, "Hey, we're done" tweet. I guess that tweet got deleted, so maybe it's not official.
No, it's tricky to say it because you can't say it's official unless Jon Favreau or Disney or Lucasfilm says it.
Yeah, I agree.
You can have every piece of evidence in the world. Like the OJ trial, you can have that he killed but it's not official because he was found innocent, right? Same thing with the movie confirmations. It's like, I even looked up, I found like some of the scribble on the helmet and looked up one of the names and found their Instagram account and found that they said they were going to a rap party. I'm like, okay, so it is wrapped. And then there was a crew pic we found on Instagram using a hashtag. I looked up like Mandalorian rap, and there was 6 guys from the crew wearing like,
"I'm the Mandalorian."
Yeah, it said Mandalorian.
The Mando rap.
It said Mandalorian season 1 on their shirts, and it said it was a pleasure making this happen and blah, blah, blah. So maybe that's an indication that there's going to be multiple seasons. I don't know. But everything aside from an official announcement is showing this thing wrapped. So I think that's a wrap.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian just got wrapped. You know it's true because I got a jetpack on my back.
What? Oh,
I don't know. I'm terrible.
That
That's
was
the
stretch.
Mandalorian wrap.
Why don't you shut your trap? How about that?
Ooh.
How about that? How about
Cool.
that?
Well, that was the news.
Lacey, are you excited that the Mandalorian has wrapped?
Sure, I'll be excited once I see something about
Lacey,
it.
do you,
know what? That's what's
believe
annoying,
that the
though.
Mandalorian has wrapped?
That's what's annoying. That is what's annoying.
Me? I'm annoying?
No. Well,
No.
sometimes you're so much with the I need StarWars.com.
Well, now that you mention it,
No, I'm not saying that they need to say it. I'm saying I would be more excited if I had like a trailer or some type
sure,
of announcement. I would be excited. I'm not saying I'm not excited now. You asked me,
Right.
how are you feeling? Are you excited? Not really. It doesn't affect
Right.
me because it's not a photo like episode 9.
I thought you were doing the whole angle. Well, Lucasfilm hasn't said it,
No,
and neither has Disney.
did not say that.
Okay.
Put that
All
in
right.
my mouth. No.
All right. I'm just coming back at you because of all the bro comments you made on our Patreon video to me. But
You are a bro.
it's funny, like, why wouldn't they just be like, why wouldn't Favreau be like, all right, so our set engineers took a group photo with Mandalorian season 1 jackets and they posted it saying, we just wrapped season 1 of the like,
Maybe they didn't want them to because they wanted episode 9 to have its own announcement.
yeah, I know, but at this point, it's been a while. Like, don't you think Favreau would be like, even when the synopsis leaked, he like, all right, let me put out the official synopsis. Why wouldn't he just be like, all right, we're done filming? Like, does
Maybe it
everything have
didn't
to be
wrap
a
fully.
big
It only
secret?
wrapped one production.
No, they had a
Yeah.
wrap party. I don't know,
But-
just say it. Jeez.
you know, maybe for whatever reason, the unfortunate scheduling is like 90% of everybody is wrapped, but we still have
That's what I'm
this
saying.
other stuff to
Yeah.
share.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, maybe. But
You know what it is, John? It's when you go out on a birthday on Saturday, even though technically your birthday is Monday or something.
yeah, okay.
You know, we're all celebrating it today, but it's not actually now.
But we heard multiple posts about wrap parties, so you wouldn't think they'd have the wrap party unless they were wrapped. But whatever.
No, that's my point though, is you would have a birthday party even though technically it's
okay,
it's not
right.
the yeah. Because most everybody's done.
But I mean, I think now there's we're definitely getting at least a full trailer of this thing at Celebration. I would imagine. There's
What
even
did
some
I
people
say?
think
Yeah.
we're gonna.
What
Some people
did I
think we're gonna
say?
get an episode. Some people think we're getting an
Yeah.
episode. I don't. But
Guys,
I
we
don't
talked
know,
about
man.
this weeks ago, and I said we were going to get a title and all this description and a trailer.
a title? You don't think The Mandalorian's the title?
No, I said this a while ago, though, and you were all like, no way.
What? No, wait. Why would I say that? Why would I not think there'd be a trailer for The Mandalorian at Celebration?
I don't know, you
I didn't
said
say
it.
that. No, I
No,
didn't.
yeah, this
You're
was
crazy.
John. Yeah, John, I know what she's talking about though. We did say something like what we were going to get. No, I'm sorry. That was not. That was the Benioff and Wise stuff.
No, but we talked about Mandalorian,
She was like, we're
too.
going to get, it's going to be announced. It's going to be
Yeah,
this. It's gonna be,
Lacey
yeah,
thinks
that's
we're
what it
getting
was.
all the trailers, the titles, and everything.
I
of
do
Benioff
think-
and
Yeah,
Wise.
both.
No, the reason people think
Bye-bye.
we're going to get a full episode of Mandalorian is because they show 2 full episodes of Rebels, but it's like that shows
Yeah.
like 24 episodes. Like they've got room to show something, and it's not really anything.
Yeah, they're not going to show 1/8 of the series.
They might show the
1/8
first
of the
5
series
minutes.
at Mandalorian. Yeah, sure, the first 10 minutes that's fine, but that then becomes like 1/15 of
And you know
that
what's funny?
series or more.
Pedro
or less.
Pascal has probably been on set for like a day, maybe. Like it's
You think?
stuntmen. It's stuntmen in those suits. Like he's not running around in the suit.
Oh, yeah, that could be. So it's like 90% this Mandalorian guy, and then like just every once in a while he takes off and he has like
Yeah,
a dialogue
that's
scene,
it.
and it's
Yes.
him. He's the guy.
It's like the
He's
old Power
guy.
Rangers. It's like 90% of it is an old Japanese action scene, and then like the stuff where they're in a cafeteria are all these kids in America.
Yeah, there you go. All right, guys. Well, that's just about all the news today. We've talked about episode 9. We've talked about spoilers for episode 9. We've talked about Kenobi. We've talked about Rian Johnson and his trilogy. And we've even talked about The Mandalorian.
And the Power Rangers.
So much stuff. And Power Rangers. So much stuff that we are going to move on to our next segment, which we like to call hashtag Ask the Resistance. Lacey, what are we doing?
I've been wondering, what are midichlorians?
Hey guys, it's time for Ask the Resistance. You have Star Wars questions. Hopefully, we have some pretty good Star Wars answers. So, you guys sent in your questions, and here they are. The first question comes from Daniel Sotir, soon to be at SWCC. I didn't know if Sotir was going into the sentence. At Dan RS87. And he asks, do you think Matt Smith could be playing Snoke's other apprentice in episode 9? I'm going to go first, ladies first. Plus, this has to do somewhat of Kylo Ren because it's Knights of Ren, kind of. So, here's the deal, guys. In the visual dictionary, was it for The Last Jedi or was it for The Force Awakens? It was Last
Force
Jedi,
Awakens.
Right? Force Awakens. So in the visual dictionary for The Force Awakens, they had a description, which is written by Pablo Hidalgo.
It was Last Jedi.
One of the two.
Doesn't matter.
Written by Pablo Hidalgo. In the description of Snoke, which showed his golden robe and his slippers and everything like that, it had said that he had Kylo Ren was his apprentice, and then in his description he had multiple, like one other,
at least
one other apprentice. So that little phrase has grown into this big thing of, what does that mean? Is there another apprentice out there? Is someone going to show up in episode 9 to really shake things up? I honestly don't think that's the case. I don't think that Snoke's other apprentice could be Matt Smith. John says this all the time, and I don't usually agree with him, but I'm going to agree with him this one time, which is they're wrapping things up in episode 9. They're not just going to be introducing stuff that we don't know about. And I don't think enough people have read the visual dictionary, no offense, Pablo, to get that little phrase and then internalize it and be like, yes, the one other apprentice that we know about.
Finally, we get the answers we've been waiting for.
Yeah. I think it's just kind of like a cover so that if it ever happened in some type of book or something, they could say, oh, well, we did say this in this other book. I think Matt Smith is a Knight of Ren.
More. And they're like, well, we only said at least one other. There could be more.
Yeah, right. So they kind of, maybe that is what the story group does, is they just kind of cover the basis for future things. But I think that Matt Smith is definitely a Knight of Ren. I think that's what his character is, or he's something First Order related. I do think he's going to cause some sort of trouble, but I don't think enough to be like the definite bad guy that's going to...
Will he get his head cut off?
No, why would he get his head cut off? What?
He's villain.
I guess so.
The Knights of Ren pulls his helmet off.
Is he going to be a First Order officer like Admiral Smiley?
It's funny you say that because when we looked at the concept pictures, there was an alien at alien at N that I kept kind of chirping about because he was just so weird looking and he looked like the Hush characters from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Mm-hmm. If you guys haven't seen that episode, it is the best episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer ever. It won an Emmy. It's terrifying. They come in and they take everybody's voices away and then they steal body organs. It's terrifying.
Is that the one where she kills Angel?
No.
That's the best episode ever.
Welcome to the Star Wars Resistance broadcast. We're talking about Star
whatever.
Wars.
But the point I'm saying is that character looks like those guys, those scary guys look like this alien. And I could definitely see them putting Matt Smith in alien makeup and making him something creepy. I think that would be so cool. It would take him away from the Doctor Who thing because, no offense, everyone's going to see him and think Doctor Who. So what better way to kind of beat off the Doctor Who stuff and get it out of the way than to put him in a full makeup of alien.
Beat off Doctor Who?
Mm-hmm. No, get him out of the picture. Come on,
go there,
stop! Get him out of the picture.
Okay,
you're such a pro. All right.
Are the Knights of Ren all human?
I don't know. We don't know that. We don't know. Someone said they should be all women, and I was like, come on, guys. They can be all different types of people. They don't have to be all just women. All right. Next, we have Grandmaster Galen Merrick at GmasterGMerrick08. Again, the longest handle I've ever seen. And he asks, what do you think happened to Snoke's body after The Last Jedi? James, we're having a big Snoke night tonight. James, what do you think?
Yeah. I would imagine that Hux probably got someone mildly low level to come in and clean up what has happened and move the body and burn the body and to get rid of the body. And then he had all those people killed.
Oh,
Wow.
He's
like dirty.
That. I like that answer. That's evil Hux. I like that.
That isn't evil Hux.
That is absolutely, that's Phasma Hux. Like the Hux that killed his father because he wanted the power.
Well, isn't that canon? He did kill his father, right?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's the Hux that I think in that situation, he's not going to be like, oh, what do I do? I don't want to move this body. You know what I mean? I think he would just have somebody else serve him and then he would just wipe him clean.
Well, Snoke, Snoke was his new father
Phasma
figure.
would do that too, right?
Yeah.
She would make sure that there's no loose ends. So
yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy. And you know what's interesting? It's kind of like Cassian where he's just shooting that guy where he gets his intel.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yup. That's good Star Wars right there.
Yeah. Okay, next is Bruno Du Amaral at Bruno Du Amaral. And he asks, if a new movie can introduce a new character from nowhere, like Maz Kanata, why wouldn't, I'm cutting this off because I can't see it off my screen, why wouldn't they just use someone like Ahsoka without that much explanation? John, why wouldn't they use Ahsoka, John? Answer the fans.
So this is interesting. Now, this is something that James and I have both agreed on for a long time. I don't know about you, Lacey, but some characters would look really awkward and weird if they all of a sudden vault them to a live action situation. And I think
prequels.
I think Ahsoka is one of those. So I think that'd be a little jarring for people to see, as cool as it would be. Also, I don't think a lot of the people that are going to make this a $2 billion worldwide grossing movie know who Ahsoka is. And I know people listening to this think that's crazy, but you're listening to this because you're a diehard Star Wars fan. Most movie-going people don't know who Ahsoka Tano is, so that'd be the same as introducing a Maz Kanata. What would make it more difficult to bring in an Ahsoka Tano is she has connectivity to these characters, so she would know some of these people. Then the movie-going audience would be like, well, why does she know these people? You don't have to explain that with a Maz Kanata, aside from Han saying, hey, Maz, remember that time with the boyfriend, the Wookiee? Blah, blah, blah. It'd be more complex if you tried to get Ahsoka in there. That's why. And also, they've sold plenty of Ahsoka figures. They probably tried to push some Maz Kanata stuff. So if you want the merchandising answer there too, but that's the main reason why though, Bruno. I hope that answer sufficed, my friend. Thanks for the question, and as always, way to get your handle.
Nice. Okay, and last but not least is Sean at Night of Sean.
Hey, Sean.
I love Sean.
Hey, Sean.
Him and Evan are like my Kylo boys. All right, Sean. Will we ever see the iconic title crawls ever again after episode 9?
Oh, God.
I'm going to say no, unless they do 10, 11, 12. Those are very specific to the saga, and I can't see them doing that. Because they already showed you that they wouldn't do it with Rogue One, and they didn't do it with Solo, so they kind of set that pace. John, what do you think?
They did it with Solo, but in a weird way.
Yeah.
Because
they did the blue writing.
Yeah, in the different stanzas. I think I think there's gonna be an episode 10, so I think the answer is yes. But if we don't, we'll see variations of a crawl, but it won't match the saga stuff. So it'll have an old school thing to it, and it'll be similar in way they set to have the prologue or whatever you want to call it to set the story. But it won't be the traditional crawl. I hope they do though. I think the main fanfare of Star Wars is very important. So I would like them to keep using that, but we'll see what they decide to do.
Yeah, I think that they probably were trying to make a good decision with Rogue One, and it really backfired on them. So they tried to figure out how they can still kind of have that thing that sets up the story with Solo, and they did it the way that they did it. But I think that they know that crawl is iconic, and they want to keep that around. I think, and this may be a crazy answer, but I think that we will not see it in the Benioff and Weiss stuff, but I think that we will in the Rian Johnson trilogy. I think that is where they keep. I think that if they're going to say spin-offs and the main storyline, if you will, I think that the Benioff and Weiss stuff is going to be something that's like, hey, these are all different and cool. And Rian Johnson's thing is going to be like, we're going to try to make that the new core Star Wars story, that new trilogy. But I don't know. We'll see. We will see.
All right. Awesome.
Treats.
Guys, thank you so much for your questions. If you want to be on the show, then send your questions to us on Twitter at RBATSWNN. You can also send us tweets via the hashtag #AskTheResistance. We love Star Wars questions, so send them our way. Back to you, John.
Yeah, and make them clever and interesting, because we get a lot of the what's your favorite Star Wars character stuff, and I don't like not using people's questions because I don't want them to think that I'm ignoring them. So the cleverer, the better, I think. But you guys always do, so thank you so much. Guys, make sure you do subscribe to the podcast. You can do that in various ways. You can do that on iTunes, SoundCloud, Spotify, and YouTube. Hey, you watching us? How are you? I'm waving to you. How you doing? Also,
who's
guys,
watching me?
You can right there, James.
James,
right there.
James, come right
James.
here, boy. James.
James. Oh my goodness.
Treats?
Treats? I love the audio people just hear panting. They're like, what is going on? So guys, if you also want to support the podcast, we do have a Patreon page. It's at patreon.com/resistance broadcast. We have 5 tiers starting at $2 a month. That is all for access to the page. We post pretty much every day. Lacey runs that page for us. Starting at the tier 2 level, $5 a month, you can submit topics to the show. If you listen to our show on Thursdays, The Will of the Force, our discussion topics. If you are a $5 a month patron, you can affect the topics on the show and get cool shout outs. So do that all the way up to our general tiers, which you'll see. We have our generals that show up on our Thursday episodes, giving us their Patreon pod races. So,
which we have 1 slot left, guys.
One slot remains. Will it be you or you back there? I see you. You're thinking about it.
Is your thumb okay, John?
I'm bleeding a little bit. Yeah, hit on the desk before. But it's intact. It's intact. It's still here. It's not like a Skywalker hand. All right, guys. What else do we have to do here? StarWarsNewsNet.com. That is our website. All the articles that we went over today, all the articles, all the details, go there every day, especially as news is really heating up now. So every morning, hop over to StarWarsNewsNet.com. Check out your latest news, reviews, editorials, information, and more. You could find me over there writing up on these articles, and you can also find me on Twitter at Johnny Hoey. James, how about you, man?
Twitter and Instagram at Meyer Trunks. You can follow either one of those. Hardly post on Instagram, mostly post on Twitter. But I just want to give that shout out again to the YouTube stuff, man. Every week, more and more comments, more and more thumbs up. It's amazing.
More
it's
subscribers.
Helping that platform. Yeah, more subscribers. I mean, that's coming in slowly, but I love that people are engaging with that particular platform, because I'm waiting for the episode that for whatever reason just falls into Star Wars or YouTube's algorithm. One day it says, there's a lot of people commenting on this, a lot of people giving it thumbs up. It just came out, just dropped. People are probably interested in this. All right, what are all the keywords? Star Wars? All right, we'll start feeding that to Star Wars people. So the more you guys comment, the more you don't even realize how big it's affecting the possibility of us
And the more you do that, the
hitting
more
that real mainstream.
The more BS videos get pushed away. So keep that in mind. All right, Lacey, how about you?
Guys, you can find me on Twitter at Lacey Gillerin, and you can find me back again on Star Wars Newsnet, weekly show where I go run. I know, I'm back. There's news, as we've seen from this episode.
That's right.
So I'll run through the news every week so that you don't have to dig through all the crazy articles. I'll get you to the point, and then I'll also include the articles in the description so you can get right to where you need to go. Most of those articles are done by John. So
Yeah, so still read the articles.
Yeah. But also just watch me talk about them.
Guys, all right, so we are at the end of the show. Thank you so much for listening. To kind of echo what James was saying, but on a grand scale, a lot of people don't know about us. You do. I know you know people like Star Wars. Just let them know about us. They can Google the Resistance Broadcast. They can look us up on Twitter. They can find us via Star Wars Newsnet or YouTube, iTunes, wherever. Show them an episode. Send them a link. Bring them into the discussion. The base is open. We love more people to come on in. All Star Wars fans are welcome. So thank you so much for you guys spreading the word. That's how we grow. So thank you so much. We will be back with you guys on Thursday where we're going to talk, as James said before, more about Kenobi, but we're going to do our next full character discussion. So it's going to be all about Obi-Wan Kenobi and also leading into what we think we may see in that potential Obi-Wan streaming series. And of course, also we'll do a bunch of other topics in your tweets. But until then, enjoy your weeks, and we'll see you guys on Thursday morning right here on the Resistance Broadcast. See you around, kids.
Bye.